I have a genuine question, right?
Sure.
What would you tell someone that didn't really grow up with how do I say this? Like, what would you tell someone, like, right, we talk about modern women, how modern women don't like understand what true value of marriage or stuff like that is. Like, how would you help someone that didn't grow up in a traditional household, or understanding of what traditional values really were, right? Like, let's say there's, when, as they're getting older, they're coming out, they weren't taught certain principles and things other that we speak about a lot on panels. So what would you tell that person, especially as a woman or as a man?
Are you asking me?
Oh, just anybody that
Oh,
wants to
okay.
answer the question. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you can tell them anything, Callie. I think it's more like people have to come to the knowledge of and a realization of the way that things are going are not necessarily working. I myself coming from a single parent household, I had to bump my head a lot growing up. And I had to realize that certain things I was taught, certain things I was nurtured into, it just doesn't work. It's not real. I had to reprogram myself in order to become prepared to be an actual husband to my wife that I'm with for almost 8 years now. It took a long time to do that, by the way. So I think people have to come to the realization, to answer your question and keep it short, once they realize that, man, a lot of these things I've been taught aren't really working. They're not only going to not work in my life as a man or a woman, they're not going to work in society as a whole. We'll be doomed if we continue down this path. And then I think people start seeking out knowledge and they kind of walk into that way. And then someone can step in and maybe explain something to them. But until you realize something is going on, or you're taught, or you have a light bulb go off, I'm not sure if any amount of talk is going to help.
Yeah, because, well, the question remains, right, is that there are people out there, and I'm not saying this is me, right? I had to do exactly what you're saying. I had to go and learn certain stuff on my own. I had to seek that knowledge, right? But at the end of the day, the question remains too, is that there are people that don't know how to be resourceful. There are people that could benefit, because Aisha said something that stood out to me. She said the whole purpose of this panel is to help people have long lasting relationships and build healthy families. And there are people that don't understand how that works or how to go about that. And they may think they know, or they may think they're getting the right information, but they don't know what that right information is. So, if you guys have any, you know, things, suggestions on like what those people could do, like if they wanted to be husband and wife, some tips on how they can do that. I think that would be very beneficial for a lot of people in here.
I'll say start with unlearning, start with shedding some things that you've been taught, start with questioning some of the things that you've been taught that don't necessarily make sense. Start shedding information, because you have to lose before you gain. There's something you have to lose in order to gain what you're looking for. That's where you're going to have to start, is saying, I don't know what's going on here, but there's some things I'm going to have to reprogram. I think Dharma was about to speak. I didn't mean to cut you, bro.
I think that it starts with your inner self, like who you are genuinely as a person. Because I feel like once you understand who you are and the principles that you stand on and your morals, then you can go out and seek that in someone else. So I think that if you've never seen an example of a successful relationship, then I can understand why it would be hard to manage in a relationship. But I think, like Mark said, you have to seek that knowledge and you have to truly want it. And then you have to seek it within yourself. Like you have to be happy with who you are in yourself and who you're standing on before you can go out there and seek that happiness with someone else. And so that is the advice that I would give people. Like, to just don't go out there blind. If you've never been taught, don't go out there blind. Do the healing, do the work, and then you can be, if you can be a great you can be great for someone else.
Yeah, Aisha's right, because then you fall for anything if you haven't gotten yourself right first. Fall for anything, any ideology that looks cute, or any ideology that has pretty colors. They wave in your face, you think you're loved. Don't fall for anything.
I would just say surround yourself around people that you're inspired by and learn how they got to the outcomes they got to. If those are the results you want in life. Other than that, I mean, you just have to go out and fail, take an L, and take it as a lesson. Um, But I would say to women, if any women that's listening that may be in this situation, a woman's highest calling is not to go out and find herself, is to lose herself in the purpose of the man she was designed to serve. Basically, any man that you come in contact with and you find favor and he find favor in you is to sort of like what Mark said, recalibrate your mindset so that you could be useful to him. You should be coming in with the mentality of how can I serve a purpose in his life, or how can I amplify or make my whatever I can do intersect with the best interests of the direction he's already going in. And I guarantee you can label it tradition, whatever you want to label it, but things are going to work out if you have that type of mindset coming in.
Earlier, we were discussing the hierarchy. I know Andrea said she didn't agree with the hierarchy, but everyone else agreed with the hierarchy, correct? For the most part.
Doesn't matter if you agree with it. It is what it is.
Right. So, do you think that it's fair for, or is realistic for someone to reject the hierarchy and then still benefit from it, or should you be completely outside of that hierarchy and have to exist on your own in some way, shape, or form? Anybody?
Are you basically asking, is there a consequence for deviating from the natural order of things or the hierarchy?
Yeah. There is no consequence for women, but however, I feel like there should be.
Why is it not? Look at the
I
state.
feel
Look
like
at the state of society right now.
I feel like because in society, I don't know, just in my realm or my community, right? I know that for the men that are around me and in my circles, me and my friends, we feel protected in our femininity around men, right? But we are also women that like, submit to these men, and it's a different relationship. But if there was a woman who was outside of that circle and she felt like she didn't need that protection or she didn't want it because she wanted to be on an equal playing field, I'm gonna have my brother just keep walking. Like, I just feel like, why would you want to protect her if she doesn't want it? Because she got it, right? She got it. She good. She don't need child help. Don't even waste your time. Just go extend that energy on someone who actually appreciates and wants that, and understand what it means to be up under a man's protection. Because you can't then say, I'm a woman, I can do this, I can do that, I can break up a house in 2 days. And then when the tornado come and blow it down, you sitting there with your hands folded, waiting on the man to come in with the bulldozer and get everything back right. So I think that you're going to have to eat that. And they should have to eat that. You don't get to bask in your femininity when it's convenient for you. Like, oh my God, now they looking at the man crazy because he ain't hold the door. You know what I mean? But you don't want a man that's holding the door, right? You strong, you independent, you want to be equal. You should be holding his door. Hold his door. Because you want equality. Andrea, you holding door?
I think the perfect way to answer this question is to have. I like the way him set this up. I think the perfect way to answer this questions is, what would you do in this situation if your significant other was behaving or operating outside of the hierarchy? So, I mean, did anybody understand how I changed it?
I understand what you're saying, because like I said, I've never had someone like that. I've never been married. So I don't know what it's like to have that type of hierarchy. All my relationships, I've always had to, like I said, go 50-50 on. Yeah, he might open the door, I might close it, or I've had to open the door sometimes, just it was just, for me, it was more of just like I said, I just, whatever I had to do, I had to go ahead and do. Like, if we needed something, I would just go and do it. If something needed fixing, I would go and do it. If I couldn't do it, then I would ask if he could do it. That's kind of always what I've just done. Like, I never thought that there was a specific way But at the same time, like I wasn't very confrontational about it. I wasn't like, oh, I have to do this, you have to do that. I wasn't very
Why was
vocal.
you doing it? That's what I'm trying to understand. Why?
Because that's what I grew up
Why were
watching.
you?
I grew up watching when
I
something needed
understand what you
fixing.
grew up watching, but what kind of man? Why was the man allowing you to do those things? Right? So, like in my house, I ain't gotta touch. You ain't gotta touch the like certain things. I don't understand what kind of man did you get with that allows you to do those things. You shouldn't have had to. I'm trying to understand that. I understand you're saying this is what I'm used to, but
I think Andrea can explain the type of man.
I
wow, you
I
like
just want to.